Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Spring is in the air around here, and I am thrilled that you stopped by because we are kicking off the season with some high-end, low-budget DIYs. If this is your first time stopping by, I'm Karen, you're at the loft, and that makes you wicked smart. So I hope you consider subscribing if you find some value in today's video. It's the 5th of the month, so that means it is time for the 5 under $5 challenge hosted by my sweet friend Emily at Farm Charm Chic. So make sure that you check out the playlist in the description box below. We have a lot to get into today, so let's get right in to DIY number 1. For this DIY, you're going to need some of the wooden alphabet letters from the Dollar Tree, and I have already glued them to some of their little skewers. I'm going to put those aside. I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree reindeer moss, and I'm going to chop that up really fine. Then I take my Aleene's tacky glue, and I cover both sides of the letters and get them all covered up with this reindeer moss. I'm only going to make you watch me do the S because it's very messy and very repetitive, and you don't need to see me doing all 5 of the letters. So this is how I get it done. Go in and give that a little bit of a trim, but not too much because I don't really mind the wispiness of the moss around the edges. So the Dollar Tree sells these little peat moss cups, and you get 10 in a package for $1.25. And I cannot resist giving it a dry brush with this white. The texture of these little pots is just so yummy. And when you dry brush them and all that texture comes out, it's so pretty. So I do that to all 3 of them. And then I'm going to add a little block of some floral foam, cover that all up with some more reindeer moss. And then I'm going to take some of that little wintry white baby's breath that you might have seen me use in my last video. And I'm just going to make it look like this, just some little buds popping up out of the ground. And then I add my skewers with the letters, and this little project will be complete. I go and get all 3 of those little pots filled up with these little buds, and this project is complete. Here it is, but I'm gonna show you all of it in the end, the final reveal in my little tiered tray. All right, let's go with DIY number 2. So I got this block of wood from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take the sticker off, and then I'm going to take my little tea light candle out of its little container there, and I'm going to rub it all over this block of wood so that when I go in and give it a dry brush with my white chalk paint and I let that dry and I come back and I sand it, I'm going to have some nice chippiness, and some of that wood is going to be showing through. So I saw the inspiration for this came from somewhere on either Google or Pinterest. I can't remember. And it was just it was metal art. And I did have some wire on hand that I got at the Dollar Tree. It comes in the automotive section. It's a good gauge wire, but it's pretty easy to bend. So I thought maybe I would try shaping it into a little flower to glue on top of this wood block. And I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, and I knew that I wanted to make it all from one piece of wire. So that's why you won't see me cut it. I just kind of work with it out of the package. And I just start bending it and twisting it. I wanted there to be some like little loops in between each petal. I used to make jewelry, so I did have a couple of jewels. I have a round nose plier and a flat nose. I don't know, flat nose. I don't think it's called the flat nose. It's the straight edge plier to help bend and shape it as I go. And I think I do zoom in a little bit so you can get a closer look at the little curly cues that I make in between each petal. And then when I get all 5 petals done, and by the time I got to like the 4th and the 5th petal, I was getting more of a hang of it. But I end up going in and getting it all antiqued with some antique wax and the rusty crusty cinnamon, the faux finish with the cinnamon. I do that, so I didn't mind that it was, a little childish, a little primitive, not exactly perfect. And then when I get all of them, all 5 petals around, I start going back down the stem, twisting the wire around the stem and making a couple of little leaves. That didn't do too bad, right? It's kind of cute. So now I'm going to use my clickable stamps. I got these at Michael's. They're for the Recollections brand. And I love how they snap together so you get a nice, even, straight word. You're not trying to do each letter individually. These are really great. And I decided to use the lowercase letters to spell bloom. And this little project will be complete as soon as I get this little flower glued onto this block. And again, you will see it all at the end when I show the final reveal of my finished tiered tray. Okay, let's get into DIY number 3, because when I found these little tassel hanger thingies at the Dollar Tree, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them, and I am obsessed, and I am upset that I didn't buy any more. I think I need to go back and try and find some, because this was so simple, but the detail in these pieces are so beautiful. So all I did was go into my stash and take some of my half round beads and some of my, they may be an inch and a half beads. And I glued them to the bottom with some super glue, wood glue. I stained those with my antique wax, and then I also go around all of the details and the frame of these little risers, and that's it. That's it for these. These are complete, and I absolutely love how they came out. Let me know what you guys think. I love that the different size beads make them different heights. Love it. Let's get right into DIY number 4. I think this DIY is so sweet, and I love how it came out. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think. But I took one of these crates from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to give it a rough to medium coat of my white chalk paint. And then I'm going to get into the crevices and all around the edges with some antique wax. And we're going to turn this into a little mini book stack. Did you catch how I kind of drew in those lines on the sides where there are no grooves to continue that around? So now I'm going to just add a little bit of ribbon here to cover up those handles, lay that across the top. And I tried to do the front of these by hand, but I couldn't get it small enough. I didn't like the way it came out. My eyes are just too old to do the little typography anymore. So I ended up editing out all of that video, and I went in with my Cricut and cut out the definition of a nest. Now, I got most of the ideas on Etsy, and I kind of spliced a couple of the little wording together to kind of make my own, but I just thought this was so sweet, especially the end. A retreat or home, right? So cute in your house. I think all year round you could keep this up. So I'm just going to take some of the Dollar Tree Spanish moss and I'm going to shape it into a nest. I'm going to add a couple of little patches of the reindeer moss to give it a little bit of color and some more texture. And I found a little twig in my bag that I'm going to break up and add that. And then I go and take some of my air dry clay and I make 3 little baby eggs and I paint them with different shades of white and the French linen, and then I give them a little speckle with my antique wax, and this little book stack will be done. Look at those cutie little eggs. I love them. Let me know what you guys think. This one, do you think it's as sweet as I do? I had that bird in my stash. I thought it was just perfect. Let's go with DIY number 5. Okay, so I was really excited to find this for spring. It came on a big long stake in the garden section of the Dollar Tree, and I've already cut some of that down. And I have these little tins that come in a pack of 5 for very little money, I think under $2 at a local discount store near my house. And I'm going to give the house a rough coat of my white chalk paint. And then I'm going to go back and maybe sand that a little bit. And I'm going to take the antique wax and kind of rusty up the edges with some of that and a little bit of the cinnamon. I'm going to go all around the edges and do that with the white. And then I add some of my Aleene's tacky glue to the roof. And I cover the roof in Spanish moss. No, not Spanish moss. The green reindeer moss for the roof. And I also do the same thing to this little tin. I get that all rusty and crusty. I add a little bit of floral foam. I'm going to stick the birdhouse stake into that floral foam and cover up all of it with some more not the Spanish moss, the reindeer moss, and some of those little baby's breath buds. And this comes out so super, super cute. I need to know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, so I was right the first time. I covered up all of that floral foam in the little dish with Spanish moss to make it look a little more nesty. And then I took this little sprig of the baby's breath and I cut that all apart. I used some of the greenery and some of the little flowers to cover up some of that moss. And then the last little detail is I decided that I could see some of the little shiny metal still inside the little hole of the birdhouse. So I just go in with some black chalk paint and I cover that up. I paint the inside black and then I put a little bit of black paint on the little perch to help make that stand out. And then that makes this little birdhouse complete. And I absolutely love the way it turned out. You guys need to tell me what you think in the comments. I think it is just adorable. And I think I need to go back and try and find more because I don't think these are going to last too long in the stores when they start showing up. So cute. And look how cute it looks on those little risers, right? All right, guys. So I got a couple of bonus DIYs and they were kind of free to me. So a friend gave me this huge box of wooden goodness and I still haven't gone through all of it, but I did find a couple of pieces that I wanted to use. One was a little wooden knob and a wooden bead for the top. And then I also had one more of the little mini candlesticks from the Hobby Lobby in the woodpile section. I had one left and I found a bead in the box that fits perfectly on top. And we're just going to glue these together and I'm going to stain them with some antique wax. And I have a couple of little of those pom-pom sprigs, stems from the Dollar Tree. I have them here in cream, but they make them in all the colors. And right now they have the ones in the pastels that are coming out for the spring Easter season, but I kind of like the neutral. I like the cream and I like the light green ones if I can find them. I usually snag some of those. And that's it. I'm just going to put these little sprigs inside these little beads and that is just going to act as a little accent filler on my tiered tray. Super quick and easy, right? So cute. Be on the look for some crystal doorknobs too because those look really great with little stems in them. So I'm going to take one of these packages that the little wooden cutouts come in. I save them because sometimes I make little tic-tac-toe games out of them. And I'm going to paint the back of this in spring green, leaving that stained edge around the outside. And then as soon as I get this painted green, I realize that the stencil that I want to use needs to go on a white background. Here's the image. I'm trying something new with my Cricut. I've never used this as a stencil. I got some of the Smart stencil vinyl, so you don't need to use a mat. And this is the image that I cut out. And I wanted the image to be white. So I realized that if I put this image down on the green, it was going to be opposite of the look that I wanted. So I'm using press and seal here. My sweet friend Lisa told me that it works. I don't have any transfer tape with me at my parents', so I gave it a try and I was pretty impressed with it. Once you get your image all smushed down, it worked pretty well. I was pretty happy. And do you see what I found? Do you see what I found? Do you see a heart too? couple of little pieces of the vinyl stuck to my hand as I was weeding it, and to me it looked like a little heart. And if you've been watching the last couple of videos, you know that since I've been staying at my parents' taking care of my dad, I've been finding little hearts here and there, which is a huge comfort to me. So anyways, I get the stencil put down, and now I'm going back with the celery green, going over the stencil and getting back in all the corners and the edges and getting that completely covered. And then I go back and I peel it off. And if you guys have not used your stencil, your Cricut, to make a stencil, you need to try it, because this was so satisfying to do. The image is so crisp when you pull it back. I love this, and I can't wait to try it again. Give it a try if you haven't already. It was so super simple, and the results are just beautiful. Okay, this one is done. So talk it up in the comments for me, you guys. I want to know what you think, and if you'll give any of these a try. Here's your final reveal, guys. That's it for today's video, you guys. Please let me know in the comments what you think. As always, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you spending time with me. And a special thank you to Emily for hosting this month's challenge. And please make sure you hop on over to the playlist and check out all the other fabulous creators and what they've come up for you for some spring inspiration. Don't forget to hit all those YouTube buttons for me to show me the love, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, spring, everybody.